Still interested in the compliance side, but also more interested in expertise. How does someone become an expert? And that was the work that I did on my PhD.
Wow.
What is expertise? How does that then fit into knowledge management? And how are those things connected? Uh, how does that hook into performance and the reduction of errors in as somebody does work? And learning, how do people um, manage that knowledge? How do they acquire it? How do they save it? How do they store it? But most importantly, how do they communicate that to others? And training has been such a great way, but there's some other tools, performance support tools. So looking into that, working with a couple of clients on some of those projects of using technology and not just having technology or knowledge in the head, but how can you support knowledge in the world? One of the tough decisions was when I was working at Lilly. And do I um, leave Lilly, leave the comfort of the organization, and go out on my own? Or do I stay at Lilly and have a pretty good career, make some money, and be really unhappy? So I think a tough decision was, yeah, do I stay or do I go? Do I remain relatively comfortable but generally unhappy, or do I step out and take a risk and see what else could be out there? And part of that involved uh, both knowledge about the industry, what are the needs out there, what uh, are some of the things that I have and can do that could meet a need that was in the industry related to, particularly with GMP training and compliance. And then I think the second thing is trusting oneself and having the confidence to say, yeah, this is a risk, but I've taken some steps to mitigate those risks, uh, and I think this is going to work out okay. One was a very personal decision because I'm gay, and letting people know that I'm gay, and realizing that some people might be uncomfortable with that, and other people are fine with that. But I think being true to oneself is really important, and that having that again that level of confidence and being willing to take that risk, I think that has allowed me to go in some other directions and to do things and have opportunities that I wouldn't have had any other way. There was a link because when I was living in Indianapolis, um, I was involved. This was in the late 1980s and until 91, and I was helping to start an HIV/AIDS center in Indianapolis called the Damien Center, and as part of that, I had some level of visibility, and my management at Lilly was very unhappy with that, and they were very uncomfortable, and was basically told there's a glass ceiling that nobody's talking about, and you could stay here and be comfortable, or you could do something else, but you're not going to get above the glass ceiling.
Okay.
And so I think that was one of the contributors saying that, I I could just bury myself here and be very closeted, or I could do something else and be a lot more comfortable with myself and where I am and where and whom I was working with. I think some of those biggest challenges are the complexity of the issues and uh, that there are it's like a bowl of jello, like, and so if you it's just not the singular relationship, but if you hit that bowl of jello, you have all this radiation of that wave in that bowl of jello, or you push it here, it's going to come out there. So I think the complexity of the issues globally, I think a lot of companies are playing the how low can you go game, and it's now coming back to bite them. They played it successfully for a little while, but now they're at this level that if they do go below that number, uh, it's going to add just really hurt their company strategically. And I think you're seeing some examples of that, playing out in the industry that companies have not invested in the future. and now it's coming back to bite them. In some of the companies that I work with, there's a very strong command and control hierarchy. And we're the leaders. We will tell you what you need to know. Um, for example, several companies I work with, if they get citations from a regulatory authority, well, let's say it's a 10-page set of citations, observations. Uh, some companies that I work with, they will break up that 10 pages so you know what one paragraph is, and Mary will know what one paragraph is, and John will know what one paragraph is. And nobody except the top three people in the organization will put it all together. And you don't talk about it. You don't even whisper things about, okay, this is what the FDA found. You don't talk about that to your employees. So it is very much this, on a need to know basis, which I think is just absolutely dark ages. Other companies that I work with, uh, they share that information with their people. So, okay, this is what FDA found. These are what the issues are. This is what we're thinking of. Now let's work together to put in these systems and get the systems to work together. And I think those are the companies that have that level of transparency, that have that level of trust with their employees. They're the ones that are going to succeed. Because the other ones that are just kept in these little cubicles and just fed little tidbits of information when they need it, they don't see the big picture. And I think that's one of the other things that companies that allow their people to see the big picture, see how the pieces connect, for good or bad, they're the ones that are going to be successful. It's understanding, are you do you have a strategic focus or do you have a tactical focus? Is your decision meant to last for the next 2 or 3 weeks to get you through something like that you're going through? Or are you trying to make a decision that keeps you or puts you on a pathway for your organization for years? Um, I think so many things are done with this short term. Let's make the numbers for the quarter, and you don't see, okay, what are the implications? What are the risks of doing that? Understanding, is it short term or is it long term? I think the transparency is a piece. I think a third one would probably be the idea of ethics or fairness. That they are the ethics of working as they're working with their own people, as they're working with their customers. I think in some ways people have very long memories, and if you remember being treated unfairly, unethically, or you see that your boss is doing something unethical or sort of borderline or sort of playing the shades of gray game, uh, that's you'll realize that that's how you get rewarded in that organization. So the idea of treating people ethically, fairly, and I think maybe the fourth thing is that people are role models, and we may not learn by what they have written or what they say, but we very definitely learn by what people are doing and how people get rewarded or punished in the system, and we learn that by watching. It's really the relationships between people. That's the thing that is the bridge builder, not the technology. The technology might be the enabler, like Skype in this case, but it's really the relationships between people, and that the relationships that people form, that is the thing that lasts. Wow.